at Glastonbury was just beyond.
And nothing has happened since.
But it was predictable as well.
Totally. And he was there for 5 hours after it happened and let that video stay on air.
So if Tim Davie goes... Fine, that's one person.
No.
How do you change the culture of the BBC?
Well, you've got to
because that's what you're arguing.
Oh, absolutely. There's got to be a whole new raft of people brought in. The real problem with the BBC is this, that everything depends on the chairman, Shamil Shah. Yep. Now, what's interesting is that Shah said originally that there's a huge problem in the BBC and we've got to solve it. But after the Glastonbury thing, he said he thought Tim Davie had handled it well. So he's been bought on. Lisa Nandy said heads must roll.
Yes,
suddenly she says not. They've all been nobbled. It's like the Afghan thing is another establishment cover-up. But this time, the BBC is far too important. It is facing an existential question under Tim Davie's leadership.
But Tom, it isn't going to change much, is it?
Well, if it doesn't, then it's the end of the BBC, because it cannot continue with these people who are ignorant and incapable of understanding their own limitations. That is the real problem. And so, therefore, it needs a whole new structure, new management people in to cure the problem.
Ignorant, there we are. Tom, so many royal stories around. Quick picture of Harry recreating his mother's time with, the Halo Trust, going into the minefield. What's Meghan not with him? What's that all about?
It's a stunt. Harry is desperate. Harry is desperate to get back to England. Harry is desperate to distance himself from the bitter feuds of his wife. And in any case, she's excluded him from her business things.
Is there sort of a slow breakup happening here?
Well, I don't think he'll ever want to leave California because he won't want to leave his children. But he's desperate for an identity. And what he really fears is that when the king, God forbid, dies, that his brother, Prince William, is going to banish him from Britain. And therefore he can't get back at all. And so somehow he's trying to ingratiate himself. But he's advised by people, Californian advisors, who don't understand Britain. So they let the Mail do the photographs. They think it's clever for him to recreate something that Diana did more than 25 years ago. It's all falling flat. Everyone knows.
Yeah, it is completely. By the way,
welcome back, my Royal Sussex Squad family. This is your host coming to you with another truth-filled episode where we clear the fog, slam the smears and uplift Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Duke and Duchess of Honour, Purpose and Poise. Today we're talking about something that may seem simple on the surface, a letter. But this isn't just any letter. It's a handwritten note from Prince Harry that carries layers of meaning, loyalty and integrity. Everything the British press wishes he didn't have. And of course, like clockwork, they're already scrambling to twist the narrative again. But we're not having it. This episode is all about a visit Harry made to a tattoo parlour. Yes, a tattoo parlour, in New York City. You already know the press lost their minds. They speculated, they salivated, they rushed to paint the story as another so-called Hollywood Harry moment. They were convinced he was getting some rebellious tattoo to further embarrass the monarchy, because, let's be real, they're always reaching for scandal instead of service. But as usual, they were wrong, and embarrassingly so. So let's break it down. Prince Harry showed up at Eastside Ink, a renowned tattoo shop, not to get inked, but to film a sketch for the Invictus Games, the global event he founded to uplift injured service members. This was about purpose, not performance. While the media was too busy trying to create a circus, Harry was quietly filming a project that would inspire and entertain, all in service of the Invictus community. Now, what happened next is where it gets beautiful, because rather than shouting out his visit on social media or using it for PR, Harry kept it quiet. He respected the space, did his work and left, and it would have stayed under wraps if it weren't for tattoo artist Joshua Lord, the shop's owner, who handled the media frenzy with tact, with loyalty and, most importantly, with discretion. Something we rarely see these days when it comes to anyone associated with the Sussexes. And what did Harry do? He personally thanked him with a handwritten letter. Let that sink in. A royal, no longer bound by the old palace machine, took the time to write to someone not for their clout, not for their connections, but for their integrity. Harry's letter thanked Joshua for his generosity, for offering the shop as a filming location, and most strikingly, for his skillful dodging of the press, his artful handling of intrusive questions. And Harry didn't just say it was appreciated, he said it meant a lot. That's real, that's authentic. That's Harry, the man who's been hunted by the press since childhood, showing appreciation when someone finally protects his privacy. This is a story about loyalty in the smallest gestures. It's about kindness. And most of all, it's about choosing who deserves to be in your space. Because Harry, like Meghan, has learned that not everyone clapping for you is on your side. Not everyone who smiles has good intentions. But Joshua Lord, he passed the test. He did what the UK tabloid media never did. He respected boundaries. Now, of course, in true Eastside Inc. fashion, Lord shared the letter online, along with never-before-seen photos of Harry at the shop. Let's talk about those photos, because they're important. These weren't press-released, airbrushed, palace-approved images. These were candid, joyful, human. Harry was seen smiling next to Lord rapper Jelly Roll, who was also part of the project, and other tattoo artists who work at the shop. Everyone looked relaxed, warm, connected. No security frenzy, no royal stiffness. Just people vibing and working on a shared mission. This is what freedom looks like. This is what post-royal life has given Harry. The ability to be real. The ability to collaborate with people from different walks of life without tabloid interference. And let's be clear. The press tried to spin this into a scandal. They saw him in a tattoo shop and immediately imagined headlines. Harry's midlife crisis. Royal rebel with a needle. How Meghan's influence has changed him forever. Please. This man was filming a comedy sketch for a veterans organisation he founded, and the sketch itself? Brilliant, hilarious, and deeply human. In the short titled "A Deal is a Deal," Harry is negotiating where to get a tattoo from Jelly Roll. It starts with him suggesting hidden locations, the ankle, the shoulder, but he ends up with a huge fake tattoo on his neck that says, "I am Jelly Roll." Now pause, that takes guts, that takes humour, that takes confidence. Here's a man who's been told to be buttoned up his whole life, willing to laugh at himself for a greater cause. He's not doing it for image, he's not doing it for headlines, he's doing it for the spirit of Invictus. For the men and women who lost limbs, who faced PTSD, who fought wars and now need something bigger to believe in. You don't do that kind of work unless your heart is in the right place. So let's contrast that with how the palace continues to function. Leaks, lies and stiff photo ops. Anonymous sources feeding tabloid stories about Harry being a disgrace, all while they remain quiet about Prince Andrew and sweep real scandals under the rug. Hypocrisy doesn't even begin to cover it. And yet, even as the smear campaigns continue, Harry just keeps doing the work. Building partnerships, honouring loyalty, showing respect. He even invited Joshua Lord to the next Invictus Games in Vancouver. Imagine that. Instead of ghosting him or offering a vague thank you, he said, "If you'd like to come to Vancouver in February, we'd love to have you." That's inclusion. That's gratitude. That's how you build community. Meanwhile, the press clowns are still in the corner obsessing over whether the tattoo was real or if Harry's being led astray. What they fail to realise is Harry is the one leading. He's leading by example, and they can't stand it. So when people ask why we ride so hard for Harry and Meghan, the answer is simple. Because they walk in truth. They don't hide behind titles. They don't play politics. They don't leak stories to damage others. They honour people. They appreciate authenticity. And in return, they inspire loyalty in ways the Crown never could. Every time they try to bring Harry down, he shows up, with grace, with humour, with purpose. Whether it's on the battlefield of public perception or on the literal battlefields that his Invictus athletes have come from, he stands tall. And Meghan? She's the one who reminded him that he didn't have to stay chained to a system that didn't protect him. She gave him space to heal, to laugh again, to be human again. That's not control, that's liberation, and we will never let the world forget it. So to everyone watching and listening, remember this. A man who writes thank you letters, builds platforms for veterans, and uses humour to bring awareness to pain is not a lost prince. He's a found king in his own right. And no smear campaign, no petty headline, no desperate royal PR pivot will ever change that. If you believe in honouring truth, if you stand for integrity and service, then you're already part of the Sussex squad. And we ride for what's real. Now, before we wrap up this episode, you know what time it is. If this content moved you, if you learned something, laughed or felt inspired, then help us keep this platform strong. Tap that subscribe button right now. smash that like button and leave us a comment below. Let's flood the algorithm with love for Harry and Meghan. And if you really want to help us grow and bring you more bold, unapologetic Sussex content, then hit that super thanks button and show your support. Every contribution helps us speak truth louder and longer. Thank you for riding with us today. Thank you for standing on the side of light, of justice, and of real royalty. Until next time, stay loud, stay loyal, and stay Sussex strong.